Welcome to Business Innovators Radio, featuring industry influencers and trendsetters sharing proven strategies to help you build a better life right now.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to this episode. I'm your host, Richard Kai Mosca. Today's guest is SHERYL Simon, principal at Benoit Mizner Simon. She assists both buyers and sellers either in their home search or to market their home for sale. With over 20 years in the business, her expertise in helping them achieve their goals in a most seamless and professional way is paramount to her. SHERYL's in-depth knowledge of the market and her unparalleled service ranks her and her partner as the #1 team in Massachusetts in closed sales volume. With over 90% of her business based on past client referrals, SHERYL's reputation as one of the most esteemed and well-recognized professional in her field is a credit to her success. Welcome to the show, SHERYL.
Thank you, Rick, for having me on your show. I really appreciate it. And thank you for the endorsements.
It's my pleasure. Now, all right, SHERYL, to begin, could you tell our audience what led you into real estate? Was it something you always knew you wanted, or did you just happen, stumble into it?
I would have to say it was a combination of both of those. I had graduated with a teaching degree when I got out of college. Those jobs were really scarce. And I had got into insurance, which I really never loved, didn't enjoy. It was a paycheck. And on a whim, a friend of mine, I had got married. Subsequently, I had 2 small children, and subsequently a friend of mine had said, let's take a real estate course. So it was just purely a whim. And I said, sure, let's do that. And when we did, I enjoyed learning about real estate. I enjoyed the process of how buyers and sellers end up, purchasing and selling their homes. And when I went to purchase my own home myself, I really worked with 2 brokers that I thought were fine. They were good, but not until I had my 3rd experience with the broker that I purchased my home with did I really realize the quality of a good broker, the difference it makes in the purchasing process for me. So after I took my course and purchased my house, I just knew that would be a career path that I would enjoy doing. I love people. I love working with people. I love hearing about their stories, their needs. So I just thought it was a good match for me.
Yeah, that sounds good. I guess you kind of take the personal approach to your clients. You really take it to heart and you try to help them the best way you can. Now, let me ask you this. Do you specialize in a certain type of real estate?
With the community that I purchased my home in is in the Metro West area. It's a suburb called Weston, Massachusetts. Not Western, but Weston, Weston. And it happens to be a luxury community. So it just happened to be that I wanted, with 2 smaller children, to work in the community that my kids were growing up with. I thought my sphere of influence and networking would certainly help me, in that regards as well. So it just made sense. It is a luxury market. So yes, I do work in the luxury market. But that being said, I've sold condos as low as $200,000, and I have sold homes in the $16 million price range. So there is, many houses low and high and in between. So, I think that's the answer that would best describe my services.
Oh, that's great. Now, could you tell our audience how you help your clients when it comes to buying and selling of, say, luxury properties? What do you do for your audience?
Well, I think of luxury properties, every community, or the ones that I work in anyways, oftentimes the market that I happen to be in, we work in, I also have another office in Wellesley, Mass. So Weston and Wellesley, those are really high-end premier towns, great school systems, great commute to Boston. And so people will choose those because they are luxury communities and they can afford to live in those communities. It wouldn't be any different the way I would treat somebody buying a luxury home versus my daughter's friend who's buying her first condo for $300,000. I feel like it's such an important process to purchase either your first home or your second or third home that it's not really the process that makes it different. It's the people that you're engaging with that make it different. It's really more based on what their needs are. And that's, really paramount for me to find out more about what their criteria is.
That's great to know that you just treat everybody exactly the same and just do the best you can for them.
Yeah,
now,
I don't discriminate.
No, that's great. Now, when it comes to your real estate career, what personal attributes, traits, or qualities do you think have contributed the most to your success? And let us know, how did you develop these?
I think they were innate traits that I already had. So I think that's the best answer to give you. And what are those? For me, any time I am making a purchase, whether it be a piece of jewelry, a piece of artwork, I always feel that I'm in sales, obviously, or selling properties. I always want to know that whoever I am working with or who's working with me, I want them to treat me with a integrity. I want them to treat me honestly. I think that's paramount to anything. And I want to have a trusting relationship with that person. I can't tell you how many times I've searched for, a little trinket, a piece of jewelry, and you go into the jewelry store and the person says, you pick out something, can I see it? And they're like, oh my God, that's my favorite piece. And I'm thinking, okay, that's probably not the person I want to work with because there's, 10,000 pieces of jewelry and I just happen to stumble upon her favorite piece. So to me, it's all about my integrity. It's about my honesty. It's about treating them fairly. It's about giving them the respect and the dignity that I would expect when I am purchasing.
Sounds
so
good.
I think it just comes natural to me. So it's not like I have to force myself to be that way. It is me.
That's very good. Now, you've been very successful. And now it seems with any level of success, there will always be some adversity and hurdles that will pop up. So if you could please discuss what were some of the major adversities and trials you had to overcome to achieve your goals?
Well, I started my career with a larger corporate company, and that was a great benchmark for me. It was a great learning curve for me. I learned a lot being there, but I also learned that there are better ways to do business. There were often excuses as to why we couldn't be in a certain publication, why we couldn't do this, why we couldn't do that. And I am not the type that like to make excuses. I want to deliver. And I think that was an obstacle that I had to learn to deal with and to compensate for. And after a while, you get tired of that because, again, my, claim to fame really is in delivering the best possible service for my clients. And when I have to make excuses as to why they can't be in a certain publication, why they can't, be in a magazine or a local newspaper because they were in last week, that wasn't resonating well with me. And there were two people that I knew would make great partners, and we would get together and talk about, wouldn't it be great to start our own company and deliver better service for our clients? Because it takes a lot of time and energy, and as you might expect, and you want to have, a good experience for those clients. And it was in 2010 that we took the leap of faith and started our own company. And I think that took care of all the obstacles that I had dealt with, in my prior company that I worked with.
Oh, that sounds good. Now, these roadblocks didn't stop you, obviously, what you just said. Now, what kept you going despite these obstacles? Why didn't you give up? Was it your personality, your business drive? What was it?
It's funny. I don't think giving up is that easy for me. I have to really, really, really be pushed to my limit to say, there's something I could be doing better. And it is a very daunting experience, when you've been with a company. I had been for 18 years with a large real estate company. But after so many years of, not really losing business, but I felt losing, clients' faith in my ability to get things done for them wasn't, sitting well with me. So I would say it probably took me 10 years longer than it should have to take that leap of faith. And when I did, I knew that it was the right thing for me, and it should have been done sooner rather than later. But it just happened to be that it's hard to leave a big company when you have so many listings, so.
No, I understand. Yeah. Now, could you tell our audience, what is your vision for your business over the next 5 years? What do you want it to be 5 years from now?
I'm really good at reinventing myself. So one thing I did, of course, as we discussed, I started my own company. Even starting my own company, we have 86 brokers to date with the two companies. We're always looking to expand our company. We're looking in different territories to expand our company, different communities. So that would be, part of the bigger scope that, for the business, for my own personal business, because I'm still a very active real estate agent. I'm always reinventing myself every year, probably after, the holidays and the start of the new year. I always develop new strategies for myself, and mostly it is to do with past clients, because I always feel that my past clients are the best avenue to new and future business. So one year I started sending roses for their first year anniversary in their new home. Just a little reminder about, I'm remembering you. It's been a year, because, business moves on and they move on and they're, tied into the community. But I want them to know that I'm still thinking about them, and I want them to hopefully think of me when one of their friends is looking to purchase or to sell their home. I also have a social media webpage, and, if they've just purchased, they're still on my list, but oftentimes they're not looking at real estate. They've already bought. I don't want to send them or inundate them with new properties that I'm listing or sold or pending. They've already purchased. They're not that interested in that. But I will bring expert panels onto my website, invite them to do an article on ice stamps. Well, that would be interesting to someone that just purchased a home. Living in New England, we get ice stamps. I will give out like not a season pass, but Red Sox tickets for an upcoming game that I have, the available tickets to give out. So I'm always trying to keep them on my website and interested in something, and not always about real estate. It could be about interior designing. I have great interior decorators, and I have them tell my audience, my Facebook friends and my past clients about what is new in interior decorating trends. So all of that, that would be important information if they're going to do some work on the house that they just purchased.
Yeah, that sounds good, because you always have to have interesting content and not just a sales pitch, like you said. So that's really good.
Exactly.
So I guess from listening to what you just told me, the referrals is a big and major part of your business, because it's always better to take care of your past clients than always try to find new ones all the time. You need help coming up with those new clients. Am I correct?
You always are looking for new business. I always say when I get rid of one key, I'm looking to replace it with another key, yes. So always looking for new business. I think, social events, you have to stay current, you have to stay social. I try to do a lot of fundraising events. I try to just keep my name and myself very visible in the community. And, by doing that, people still remember that you are in the business, and that they're happy to refer business to you. And I'm not ashamed to ask for it too. Do you know anyone? Do you have any friends that are looking to list or sell? I'll often talk about a buyer I'm working with. And everyone I always find, no matter what party or event you're at, want to talk about real estate and the trends and what's going on in real estate. So I'm always happy to be the expert on that.
I bet you this is an issue. A lot of times a seller will go on like one of those online sites like Zillow and so forth, and they'll get that site tells them what their property is worth, but that's not always what it is worth in real life, is it?
It's definitely not. And, I think of Zillow as more of almost a formula company. It's an internet-based company. And so, what they're trying to do is to determine value of a home based on more of a square footage basis. What they don't do is they don't interpret the information. Does it have a new kitchen? Does it have a pool? Does it have a renovated addition? Is it in a great location? All of those things have not been looked at by a professional, so they're just trying to target price ranges based on certain neighborhood comps, but we're not living in a track house neighborhood where you can just plug in an upgraded stove or refrigerator and calculate that easily. It really depends upon, you can have two very different houses. You could have two houses next to each other, and one has been totally renovated and one hasn't. And one might have air conditioning, one doesn't. One might have a new heating system and one doesn't. So, it's really, I think buyers, or I should say sellers in particular, do like to use it because oftentimes Zillow estimates tend to be a little bit higher than the true value of what the home sells for. So it's just, one indicator, but it's not the only, just as people would think that, an assessed value, a town assessed value is where the house is going to sell. They often sell much higher and they often sell much lower. They're not always on target, or very rarely are they.
And that's why they need a great agent to guide them through the process. Now, this has been all great information. And I have one final question, though. If you were to get a call from a family member in another state wanting to sell their home, what advice would you give them about selecting an agent who can best serve their needs?
If a family member had called me specifically, I would, for a family friend or a family member, our company is part of and affiliated with a luxury portfolio and leading real estate of the world. So luxury portfolio deals with more of the upper-end luxury properties, and leading real estate of the world is below 1.5 million. So, there's many homes and communities that would fit into that category as well. Through this elite network that we were invited into, you have to have a certain closed volume sale in order to even be part or affiliated with this company. They're represented in 50 countries, and they're all over the United States as well. So I can tap in for them through this networking that I have and find out who would be a good fit for my family member or friend that is relocating. And then I would have that member talk to the manager, discuss what their needs are in relocating, and ask them who they thought would be a good fit for them. Once you're in a community, oftentimes people, names of good agents, they don't stay under the radar. You could go into any community and pretty much once you're there, you could go to a local Starbucks or Dunkin' Donuts and say, sit down, have a cup of coffee and talk to somebody and say, just coming into this area, would you recommend any real estate agencies or agents? There's lots of great ways to find a great agent to work with. And for the most part, you need to, again, develop a very good trusting relationship with that person. And I'm always here as a resource for people. People contact me even when it's not within my immediate area to get advice, and I'm always a helping hand there as well.
Great. Now let me ask you, how can someone who needs a real estate agent find out more about you and how you can help?
Well, it's much easier today than it had been when I started my career because we didn't have the available social media. So if they were to go onto Instagram, if they were going to go onto SHERYL Simon Real Estate, SHERYL Simon Real Estate on Facebook, if they just Googled my name, there's going to be 10 or 12 different social media avenues for me, or hopefully good agents out there are doing this as well. And they could learn all about me. And what I think is really important for agents to realize too is that, people want to hear about not just you, but they want to hear about the communities that you work in. They want to hear about experiences that buyers and sellers have had with you. And so I have probably 15 or 20 testimonials of past clients. And, when I sit here and tell you about my integrity and my honesty and the way that I work with people, they would find that on my website because there's a common thread of people that never met each other that are sitting there saying a lot of the same things about their experience working with me. So I think that is, I do blogs, I do all kinds of, again, social media. I'm always at open houses. I'm meeting new clients that way. So there's plenty of opportunities to find me.
Okay, Sheryl, this has been a very enlightening interview, and I would like to personally thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to share your real estate experiences and knowledge with our listeners.
I thank you for inviting me onto the show, and I hope I'm able to help a future client through this avenue. Thank you so much for interviewing me.
Thanks for listening, everybody, and definitely reach out to Sheryl if you need assistance. Until our next show, have a great day, and I look forward to talking with you soon.
Thanks for listening to Business Innovators Radio. To hear all episodes featuring leading industry influencers and trendsetters, visit us online at businessinnovatorsradio.com today.